Hey guys, and welcome to Gwent. So, it's been a while since we have gone over a meta report, and I realized that I didn't concentrate on ranked as much lately, mainly because I was enjoying Arena, and I was playing my Shupe deck, which is actually awesome, so we'll learn about that. And these are the top dogs of the ladder currently, and I can say right off the bat that unfortunately, we do see variety in a way, but we don't really see a lot of changes to existing decks, which is a bummer. We see Crach and Crate as the top guy, and we can just look at this, and the best way to look at it is by the view rate of the bronzes. You see that the most popular Crach deck is the veteran deck that has like 53% view rate, but the most powerful Crach deck is the greatsword deck at 57. That's kind of it. The golds are just complementing it, but that kind of shows that Crach is extremely powerful. Even the weaker deck, so-called weaker deck, that's maybe I don't know, a little bit more reliable, but the greatsword has a lot more potential. The greatsword not only serve as value generation with the ships, but also as finishers. So Crach is no joke. He is the greatsword deck I would put at tier 1 easily. I would put the veteran deck at tier 2. King Henselt is the guy who just never wanna go away from the top of the ladder, and his deck is the exact same we've seen for a long time. It's 54-ish, 54-ish. So it's the machine Henselt deck with winch. So you just get at a lot of crazy machines, and there's not that much different about it. It's actually worse than the greatsword deck, but it's better than the veteran deck. And Brewer Hog is mainly a guy who runs what's popular. If we just go with the popularity, we see that Half-Elf Hunter, 53, Reheat Vanguard. So the Elf spam deck is represented here, and I would put that tier 2. That's the popular Brewer deck, and it's definitely not bad. But keep in mind that 53% is just kind of like the average here. But if we look at the view rate, we see a completely different picture. We see a bunch of like lame bronzes that have like crazy view rates. Could be like just small sample size, but we also see that Shupe is the leader here. And I know for a fact, Shupe is the best view rate gold. And I used the Shupe deck this season to play ranked, and I have 80% view rate with it. So yeah, if you have a good Shupe deck, that's insane. So I would definitely put the Shupe deck tier 1 and the Elf spam deck tier 2. So it's like 53%. It's not as great. I guess Henselt is tier 2 as well. He's at the like 54-ish. Now keep in mind like 1% here and there. I know that that's not like exact science. It's not as like you can just say like, oh yeah, but Henselt is like so much better than the veteran deck. It's a little bit of indication of how strong they are. Also, you might want to keep in mind that the matchups, how it matches up against other decks. But we're not gonna go into that right now. Calveit is unfortunately just representing alchemy here. We can go to the bronzes, and we see that the popular bronzes are all 53%. However, his view rate at 51. But if you run the alchemy deck, you are actually at 53. I don't know what the other guys are running. They're probably just noobs. But Calveit is pretty strong. So Calveit is tier 2, along with the Brewer spam, Brewer Elf spam. Henselt may be leading the tier 2 decks, and the tier 1 decks are obviously Greatsword Crach and Brewer Shupe. And Harald is not so popular. We can actually check him out. there's not much surprise here. So maybe best case scenario, you're actually doing okay. You see like 52 from the X-Men. It's not great. Like, it's fine. You can run Vetter with him. It's okay. I don't think it's really worth the fuss. Especially because, like, your opponent might not have Vetter counters, but might just create a Vetter counter. And it's gonna be bad for you. Also, if it's gonna be a finisher game, it's again really hard. Apparently, he is better than Arrakis Queen and Dagon. But the sample size is a bit low with only 1.3%. But I think that could be correct. Arrakis Queen is a little bit held back by the popularity of reset effects. And of course, like, people are just kind of learned to play around it a little bit. Because you have to, in a way, set up like a... Well, you either go for like a crazy long round 3, and that might just work out, especially if you have some counters as well. Or you go for a crazy short round 3. And of course you do that with like a finisher deck. And also, the first round for the Consume Monster is usually pretty tricky. They play very slow. So it's a good opportunity to gain a card there. If the Consume Monster goes first, it could be very tricky for them to win. But if they go second, now that's a lot better. Anyway, we see the Consume Monster at like 51% or so. Like, it's okay. It's very strong. It has the strongest finisher. If you let the Consume Monster do its game plan, you are definitely gonna regret it. And we can put Harald at tier 3 or maybe at the top tier 3. But Arrakis Queen definitely has to go to tier 3 because he is not on the level of like Alchemy or Elf Spam or Veteran or whatnot. And the Dagon is actually one of the more popular options. I kind of get it, but he's also not as great. You just see Dagon as a say like, okay, it's gonna be like a tough fight, but you're gonna lose. And yeah, this is the Deathwish Dagon. You see the cards here, like 51.8, 50. That's just the Foglet. That doesn't really matter. Like the Archispore. These are the popular cards. So like 51, 52. It's not quite as good as the tier 2 decks. So we can maybe put it like high tier 3. And unfortunately after that, it really drops off. We see Foltest. And we're really not gonna go over all of this. A special mention of Eithne. We can check her out. Ultimately, yeah, that's basically just insufficient sample size right there. But I'm not exactly sure what Eithne tries to do. I'm actually pretty sure that she just tries to spam Scorch here. Like, if you just look at the popularity, we see like Aliran, Tempo, Spy, and Scorch here. And that's probably what I'm gonna see here. Ranter Tamert, Izigrimatla. Yeah, but you just, it's basically a control Eithne. With some crap options. Maybe like a Hopeful Double Scorch with the Dobleton Archer. It's a pretty bad deck. Unless you're just running into like huge guys that have no way to stagger. Like just change the power of their units. But that's pretty hopeful. Maybe this Eithne has a better win rate against some top decks. Not so much. Actually has a terrible win rate against Foltest. Never mind that. Actually, Foltest is the one that I wanted to bring up still. Because he does have a negative win rate. Well, based on this average. But in my experience, he's not as bad. And he's definitely not great, unfortunately. He's definitely not great. And even if you play your heart out, you're only gonna get like an okay outcome. The best option is obviously Hubert. You need to play Hubert. Run with, I don't know. I think that's just never mind that. So Hubert, if you make your deck in a way that Hubert is the win condition and you can reliably get him. Actually, Black Blood. Looks like most decks don't play that way. Don't play my way.
and they actually have black blood in there as a way to get an access to another Hubert. I actually have tried to get access to the Hubert with the Altus double cross, but ultimately like this deck just at best around 50% V rate. You can have fun with it, but ultimately like there's not much point talking about these decks. I don't know if you can put it at like the lowest tier 3 deck, but it's probably pushing it. And there's really not much point talking about these decks. Actually, Mormon Boris could be like a special mention, because I do end up running into it, or did I end up running into it at while climbing a little bit. For some reason that's really popular, but it's also bad. I don't know why people run it. I don't think that I really need to go into it. And that's about it. I think it's pretty interesting. I do hope that the archetypes are gonna be spiced up in the future. Even the archetypes that are not really seeing a lot of play right now, like the Spy, or I don't know, a lot of archetypes. Actually, I did see Cursed now and then as well, but it's actually a really bad deck, so tough. I think this is pretty correct. So Brewer, Shupe, and Great Sword as the top two, and followed by Henselt, Henselt Machine, Elf Spam, Alchemy, and Veteran, and that followed by Greedy Consume, Deathwish Dagon, and Vetter Harald, and maybe Foltest if you wanna be generous. So that's about it. And I suppose we see all the factions represented. Masters are a little bit screwed, and maybe that's justified, considering how many times they were dominant. But at least we see all the factions. Most factions actually only see one leader, because it's Crach, Henselt, Brewer, Young Calveit. And you really shouldn't run Harald over Crach if you just want the highest V rate. And I don't know which one you should go with, Dagon or Arcus Queen. The thing is, Dagon is a little bit beat in his own game. The Nova deck is not as good. If you just want to have a strong finisher, you're probably gonna be beat by that. And Arcus Queen is not bad, I suppose, but a lot of people are just really messing up your game plan and making you lose cards. And that's kind of awkward. I suppose the main thing about the Arcus Queen is that people just kind of know how to play around it at this point. Anyway, no need to make this video longer than it needs to be. That's about it, guys. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.